Everyone says the 2010s destroyed basketball with drama and super teams.
Stolen by Bryant. Bad pass. Puts up the three. Bang!
But it was actually the last time the NBA made you feel something real.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Everyone who watched basketball in the 2010s know the feeling, or for anyone who heard about basketball in the 2010s, know exactly what I'm talking about.
The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles. The LA Lakers, the 2010 NBA champions.
But this is the interesting part. The decade everyone calls toxic was actually when basketball lived in your chest, not just on the screen. And I'm about to show you exactly why the 2010s weren't just basketball. They were a 10-year movie that we'll never get to watch again.
Control the ball, all right? We need to run, and we can't run without getting stops.
If you've been watching the NBA lately, you know something's missing. Games feel predictable, stars feel distant, and drama feels manufactured. You're scrolling through Twitter during games instead of being glued to every possession, and you're checking your phone in the fourth quarter. And you're not alone. Millions of fans are asking the same question. When did basketball stop mattering? I lived through every single moment of the 2010s, from LeBron's villain era to Kobe's farewell tour, from the Warriors' rise to their fall. I watched grown men cry over basketball games. I saw friendships end over player debates, and I witnessed an entire generation fall in love with one sport. And I'm gonna prove to you exactly what we lost wasn't just good basketball. It was the last time sports had a one-way connection to your entire emotional system. Everyone focuses on the super teams, the drama, but they're missing the why behind the story. And I'm gonna take you through 6 moments that didn't just change basketball. They changed how we feel about the sports forever. You got the villain origin story that made heroes matter again. The dynasty that proved perfection was possible. The heartbreak that reminded us why we care. The individual brilliance that transcended the game. The cultural moments that lived beyond basketball. And the ending that nobody saw coming. By the end, you'll understand why the 2010s weren't just a decade. They were the last time basketball felt like life or death. July 8th, 2010. The entire basketball world stopped.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
And we've supported him for 7 years now. And for him to go on there and drag us through the mud for 7 years and stab us in the heart, he deserves everything he gets. I hope he never wins anything in Miami.
This is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me.
In that moment, LeBron James didn't just change teams. He created the blueprint for how to make an entire sport personal. But here's what everyone misses about the decision. It wasn't just about basketball. It was about power. And for the first time in NBA history, a player looked at the entire league and said, I'm bigger than the system.
Hey. And when I say that, I really believe it.
Before LeBron, players were loyal soldiers. After LeBron, they became kings.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
The arrogance was intoxicating. The confidence was terrifying. And for the first time in years, the NBA had a villain worth hating.
They call it the dark side or the villain, whatever they call it. It was definitely challenging for myself. It was a situation I'd never been in before, and took a long time to adjust to it.
What did it feel like?
Didn't feel good.
When Derrick and the Mavericks crushed the dream in 2011, it wasn't just an upset. It was proof that basketball still had a soul. One man with a fadeaway jumper and an unbreakable will reminded us why we fell in love with the underdogs. But LeBron's villain era was just the beginning.
For the first time in franchise history, the Dallas Mavericks have won the NBA championship.
3 years later, something beautiful emerged from Oakland. The Golden State Warriors didn't just play basketball, they played jazz. Every pass was a note, every three-pointer was a crescendo. And in 2016, they won 73 games, more than the Jordan's Bulls, more than anyone in history. Steph became the first unanimous MVP.
The first unanimous MVP in NBA history, the 2015-16 Kia NBA Most Valuable Player, Stephen Curry.
The game had never seen anything like his range, his confidence, and just his pure joy. But perfection came with a price. Game 7, 2016 NBA Finals. The perfect season was on the line. In that moment, perfection died. And something even more beautiful was born. The reminder that basketball is about heart, not just skill.
Oh, blocked by James! LeBron James!
My goodness. Superhuman defensive recovery by LeBron James.
LeBron had gone from the villain to the hero. The Warriors had just gone from perfect to human. But then July 4th, 2016 happened.
Kevin Durant heading to the Golden State Warriors. How are you viewing this move?
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar.
Kevin Durant joined a team that beat him.
All right, Kevin Durant, let's start with the easy one. Why the Golden State Warriors for you?
I just felt like the fit was perfect. I felt like the guys complimented each other, and I feel like I compliment their games as well.
Wasted no time.
Yeah, look at that, man.
Did you own any Kevin Durant jerseys?
I owned a lot of t-shirts and some posters.
What'd you do with those?
Honestly, I threw them in the trash.
The hardest road became the easiest road, and suddenly, the NBA had a new villain, one that would dominate for years.
Oh, here comes Durant! He saw and he slammed. Pushes it ahead. DeJounte Murray goes inside, left-handed, blocked by Durant.
But while super teams dominated headlines, individual brilliance was reaching impossible heights. Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double, something that hadn't been done in 55 years. 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists every single night. This wasn't just basketball. This was a man channeling pure rage into athletic poetry. The next year, James Harden took it even further, 36 points per game, a 60-point triple-double. He broke basketball, literally. The step-back three became unstoppable, and through it all, legends were saying goodbye in the most beautiful way possible. 60 points in his final game, against the Jazz at Staples Center. It was perfect. It was impossible, and it was the 2010s in one moment.
You guys will always be in my heart, and I sincerely appreciate it. No words can describe how I feel about you guys. What can I say? Mamba out.
But the 2010s weren't just about what happened on the court. They were about how basketball invaded everything else. Every game became a meme. Every play became a GIF. Every reaction became content. And Michael Jordan's crying face became the internet's favorite punchline. Celebrities weren't just watching. They were part of the story. Players weren't just athletes. They were brands, personalities, and content creators. Basketball conversation moved from sport bars to barbershops to Twitter threads. NBA jerseys became streetwear. Basketball became culture. The game went global in ways we'd never seen. A kid from Greece and a teenager from Slovenia. Pause. That's 2021. Let me edit this part. The game was becoming universal, and basketball was becoming a language everyone spoke. But the 2010s also taught us that basketball could break your heart in many ways you never expected. Derrick Rose was 22 when he became the youngest MVP in NBA history. Chicago hadn't felt hope like this since Jordan. Then, April 28th, 2012, one plant, one twist, and one moment that changed everything.
Yeah, it's before he comes down. It's the plant right there on that left leg.
There was some give. There was some give on that knee, and you could see it.
The youngest MVP became a tale about how quickly dreams could shatter. The Thunder had 3 future MVPs, 3 players who could have ruled the decade together. Instead, they traded James Harden for $5 million. $5 million. The dynasty that never was became the biggest what-if in NBA history. Kawhi Leonard and the Spurs were about to challenge the Warriors' dominance. Then Zaza Pachulia happened. One dirty play, one injury, and one moment that changed the entire trajectory of the decade. The 2010s reminded us that basketball, like life, doesn't always have happy endings. But sometimes basketball gives you an ending so perfect, you couldn't have written it better.
Simmons, is this the dagger? Game! Series!
4 bounces that sent Philly home and Toronto to their first finals. The Warriors dynasty was ending, not with a bang, but with injuries and a heartbreak. And Kawhi Leonard, the quiet assassin who never said a word, delivered Canada its first championship. An entire country celebrated. Drake cried. The Warriors era was over. Then Kawhi left, because in the 2010s, even fairy tale endings came with a twist. The 2010s ended not just with a dynasty, but with chaos. Not with certainty, but with questions. But then 2020 happened, and then basketball was just never the same.
Yeah, and then there's this. Basketball fans really went crazy online overnight after the NBA announced it has suspended its season indefinitely.
So why did the 2010s look like that? Why do we miss them so much? Because they were the last time basketball felt bigger than basketball. The last time you canceled plans for a regular season game. The last time a trade could ruin your entire week. The last time you'd argue with strangers on the internet until 3 a.m. about who was better. The 2010s weren't perfect. They were messy, dramatic, and sometimes toxic. But they were real. They made you feel something. Today's NBA is more skilled, more athletic, more polished. But the 2010s had something today that the game will never have again. They had our hearts. And once you give your heart to something, you can never really get it back. If this brought back memories you forgot you had, hit the subscribe button, because we're just getting started with the stories that made sports feel like life or death.